Josh, thanks for joining me here in Sydney. You came here a bit earlier than I think most of the NBA guys did when they came to Australia. Why was that important for you to do?
I think it's just one of those things, being back home, being over in America every year. I've been over there for so long now that it's become like you're so accustomed to being over there. So for me, it's making sure that I'm a part of, being back where I'm from at home and being able to, give back to the community and be able to do stuff. Because at the end of the day, I'm from Western Sydney and I want to stick to that. And my goal is to be able to live here in the off seasons upcoming. So I think it's a great start, and there's no better way to prepare for playing for Australia than preparing for that in Australia.
Has that been weird for you to start calling this home? Because before last off season, you hadn't come back here for what, like 4 or 5 years, and now you're back here, and now you're trying to sort of make this your sort of home base. Has that been a difficult shift for you, and why is that so important as well, to make sure that people know that you are from Sydney and that this is your home?
Yeah, I don't think it's hard at all. I think no matter how long I've been, from my IMG days to my Arizona days, my number one thing has always been, being able to represent Sydney and Australia. So I haven't been back as much, but everything that I ever try to do, goal-wise and as a player and just an individual person, I always try to do it, for Sydney and for Australia. So it's one of those things where, it's hard to be far away from it, but I always feel connected to it, Even, our last Olympic run, we weren't able to do the training camp here, but being around the guys and the atmosphere that, the leaders of the team created, you felt like you were home in Australia.
So you feel like legitimate pride about being from Sydney, right?
Oh, 100%. I think Sydney's the best city in Australia, and I'll back that, and I'll go all for it. But I love Sydney. And every time I come here, it's the best feeling being able to come back.
Okay, so let's figure out just how Sydney you are. So you came back here a few weeks ago. What's like a typical day for you out here? You're staying around Bondi, that area. What does a day look like?
Honestly, lately, obviously, I've been very focused on getting ready for the for the World Cup. So I've been working out a lot. I've been trying to work out in the morning. Before every workout, I make sure I go get a coffee, get a nice, breakfast, sit down and just relax, enjoy the start of the day. I work out and got my trainer out here, and a couple of my boys play defense on me and whatnot. Hit the weight room, then go back home, do some recovery. I've been able to hit up some local spots, in Bondi for recovery and everything like that. We've gone on the beach and whatnot. It's pretty cold, but it's a good little plunge, and just chilling. Trying to hit up as many local restaurants for dinners and whatnot, and it's been really good.
So coffee, beach, food is one part of Sydney, but then the other part for you is doing stuff with the community, right? So you're doing stuff at your old schools. I saw your old primary school the other day. You've got camps coming up at Cranbrook. Why is that important to you, and how excited are you to sort of dive into that part of being back in Sydney?
I think it's important to me because when I was a kid, whenever an opportunity like that happened, I was the first kid there. I think me and my brother always talk about it, but Andrew Bogut had this appearance in Sydney City one time. I was I don't know, I think I was 6, 7 years old. But we woke up early, we drove 50 minutes, hour to go see it, and it's moments like that which made me really love basketball. So to think that there's another kid out there who'd want to be able to meet me or just be around me, I think it's important for me to be able to give back, especially from where I come from too, around the Hills District area. Being able to go back to my old primary school, being able to see kids. Also just seeing kids how advanced basketball has become here. When I left, it wasn't the biggest sport. Now it's become a big sport, and it's cool being able to see kids be able to recognize you and whatnot. It's a surreal feeling. So it's one of my things I really want to come back here and be able to give back.
So I want to talk about the Boomers. How much did playing for the Boomers through that Olympics help you reconnect with Australia? Because you didn't really have a visceral connection to Australia outside of you being from here. You left for such a significant amount of time, but playing for the Boomers felt like it sort of helped you reconnect, right?
Yeah, I think it, obviously I've always been proud to be Australian and always represented Australia, but it's different. When you go to the Olympic, it's a whole nother level. You realize, how much the country really means for you. It literally is like you're putting a uniform on for your country and you're going to battle against. So, I'm so competitive that, I don't want, it's crazy. Like, you have so much pride for it, and it's cool to be able to represent your country, Even just, the other day we went to a Wallabies game and I watched the Matildas play, and it's just like, to know that I play and I wear the green and gold for another sport, it's one of the coolest feelings ever. As a kid, it was it was my dream. It was my dream whether to be in the Olympics for track and field or whatever it was. I watched Tim Cahill. That was like I really wanted to be on the Socceroos and whatnot. So being able to see all that now and to know that I am being able to wear the green and gold it's one of the best feelings.
Do you feel something different about the Boomers? Because I think outside of Ben, it's almost like a given that everyone will play. Like, we're seeing guys drop out of the World Cup from other nations, but with Australia, it's like, if you're Australian and you're healthy, then you will play. Yeah. What is it about the culture, from what you witnessed from the period of time that you've been with them, that makes it like that?
I mean, I think, like I said before, we have so much pride for Australia, and I think we know the talent that we have in Australia and the level of basketball we have, and there's no reason why, our country shouldn't be up there with all of the, best countries, So going forward now, we're trying to get a gold medal, and we're striving for that. We were able to get a bronze medal at the Olympics, and obviously, that was the coolest thing ever. One of the coolest things. Obviously, I experienced it from another angle because, you have guys like Joe and Patty who have, been working for years for this, and as much as, it was my first time and, pretty cool to get a bronze medal, you can see the fight that they went in to get it. So it just drives me even more now. Like, I want to get a gold, that's my goal going into, the next, 10, 15 years. I want to get a gold medal, and there's no other way around that. And I think it would mean the world to me to be able to say that I got a gold medal for Australia.
And you have a chance to be a prominent part of that. You were sort of the end of the roster guy at the last Olympics. You're coming off a really good season in the NBA. You're about to get paid, so you're going to be in a situation where you'll be part of like a significant part of the rotation for these Boomers. Is that a cool feeling going into camp, knowing that you were all of a sudden one of the prominent guys and you get to actually make a proper significant impact on the court to help you guys achieve success?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool feeling, for anything. I think my whole life has kind of been like, I moved over to America, wasn't the best basketball player, and then, I worked towards being, all these accolades, and then the same thing as in college, I went there with an injury, it didn't play, and then, I was able to get drafted, go to the Mavericks, didn't play, and then obviously, the Australian team, got there. I really knew I wasn't going to play. It was a big sacrifice for me because it was a big off season for me, and it could have, made or break my NBA career if I, didn't put work in that summer. But it was a priority for me to be able to play for Australia. I was 20 years old going to an Olympics. One of the, youngest players ever to go to the Olympics. So for me, it's like, how can I turn that down to be able to be a part of an Australian system? And knowing that my time was going to come, obviously it's hard. You want to be out on the court. But I know I put the work in, and I know that for moments like this moving forward, I've experienced the Olympics and all these situations that I'm ready to put on the green and gold and be able to play for Australia and have a good part of it.
So basketball-wise, where do you see your impact? I spoke with Gorge. He mentioned the idea of being defense first. He mentioned you specifically, Matisse, Dante, these longer wings coming in and impacting the game defensively and running. Then there's the idea of you playing alongside Josh Giddey. You excel next to Luka. Josh is like a version of Luka as far as a bigger guard who can pass. Where do you see your fit basketball-wise and how you can impact the game that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking past in different Boomers rosters, I think looking at the team now, we're a lot more versatile. We have a lot of guys who can run up and down the court. We have multiple ball handlers that can bring up the ball. I think we're going to play probably a little bit more faster pace of game than what we're probably used to playing Boomers-wise. But faster pace, means a lot more stuff. Transition, more fun to play, more fun to watch. Winning style of game. Everybody's unselfish. So for me, it's just coming in and being able to bring the same intensity. I don't want to lose, so I'm going to be competitive. Play the same way I do in the NBA. But yeah, I think we're going to be a very defensive-minded team, and I think we got a lot of great players to really go on a good run.
Have you personally thought about the connection that you have with Luka and then thinking about playing with Giddey? There are some similarities there, but I imagine Giddey will be a prominent part of this team going forward and as like the main ball handler. Yep. Can you envision a partnership being created there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Giddey has done amazing things in the NBA at already such a young age. So for him, he's a young guy, but he plays in a mature way. I think that's important. Going into the World Cup, being able to have mature point guard who's able to handle situations like that, and he controls the game with his tempo. So I think for me, it's going to be good being able to play with him. I think we're going to, we have a lot of weapons everywhere, and I think he's going to be able to, utilize those and be able to pick and find. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's not too often that you get a country that has 2, 4, like whatever the amount of young players core moving forward. So to be able to start at this age and be able to run with him, I'm super excited.
Have you thought a bit about that core? It's not just you and Giddy, it's also someone like Dyson Daniels coming, Jock Landale's not that, it's sort of entering his prime now. There are a ton of young guys coming through, even Dante's not that old. You guys can have success for a decent amount of time. Have you thought about that? Have you guys talked about that amongst each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things, obviously, like, I always like to stay in the present and whatnot, but at the same time, it's hard not to look forward to, certain things, being able to take care of, this World Cup, and then, the Olympics, and then, you move forward to LA, and then you're looking at 2032 where we're able to play back in Australia, for the Olympics. So, hopefully I'm still running around by then. I think I'll be okay, I'm hoping. But it's one of those things, looking forward to that, it's like, it's hard to see how good Australia could be by then, and the accolades that we can accomplish by then. So I think it's exciting. It's really exciting. It makes me happy, and I'm really proud of the other guys and what they've done. I'm super excited for Dante to, be a part of the Mavericks now. I think he's going to be a great fit. Matisse has done a great job. Jock's done an amazing job just signing a great contract. Dyson has had a great season. So I think we have a lot of pieces, and we have guys come up in the college system and whatnot. So I think we can really have a good team moving forward.
So let's talk about your personal growth and your recent NBA season. You had a career year, basically improved every statistical category, over 50% from the field, 40% from three on more than double the attempts. Tell me, where did that improvement stem from?
I think just knowing what I needed to do last offseason. I knew where I needed to be. I knew the areas that I needed to improve on. I also was just like, true to myself. I know that I wasn't going to go out there. I knew I wasn't going to be an ISO player. I knew I wasn't going to do that. Potentially it can happen, yeah, but those aren't the areas that's going to get me on the court. So I really worked on the areas that was going to get me on the court and be the best for my teammates. And I just wanted to do it. I'm just super competitive. I felt as if, like, if, I made it this far, what have I got to lose now, So, it's just all about, working towards that and, just trying to, prove people wrong.
How do you think your relationship on and off the court has improved with Luka over the years? Because obviously he's the focal point for the Mavs, and in order to be successful there, you have to have a good relationship with him. How do you feel like that evolution's been? Yeah,
I mean, I think Luka, is obviously, I think people, like, they forget how young he is, So I was able to establish, a good relationship with Luka. Luka's a great teammate, and especially this last year, he's become, an amazing leader for our team, and he's really taken a step on being a leader. So, I have a great relationship with him. Obviously now we're going into World Cup play, and, he's going to be trying to get Australia. We got the bronze medal from them, so it's going to be a competitive spirit. But
there's a crossover too.
Exactly, there's a crossover against him. But, at the end of the day, I think that's what I like about Luka the most is, he's such a competitive guy, and he wants to win, that it makes everybody better. Everybody better in practices. He wants to play pickup every time. No matter if we have a game the next day or whatever. He's a competitive guy, and he's a very good guy to be around.
So you speak about that, but then at the end of last season, it was a really weird situation where the Mavs had a desire to get that lottery pick, and so those last two games sort of meant nothing. What was that experience like, knowing that you couldn't go out there and compete for those last two games, and how much has that made you want to not do that again and made that team, cherish winning that little bit more?
Yeah, it was obviously, it's tough. You want to be able to play in the game, but at the end of the day, there's decisions that have got to be made as a front office. They wanted the picks. And I think those young guys are going to be great for us moving forward. It's one of those situations, you need to sacrifice to be able to, win. And, I have 100% faith in what Mark and the front office does for the Mavericks. And one of those things where, I wanted to play, I'm competitive, but at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Do you feel like learning from that and then the additions that you guys made this offseason, Grant Williams, Seth Curry, all these guys, there's one more, Dante. So all these guys coming in, do you feel like you guys are maybe in the best position you have been in a decent amount of time to actually have success and make a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have all the pieces. I think we have amazing coaching stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. I think a lot of people, doubted what it would be and how it would be, but I don't know. I really don't know why. But I think we have a group of competitors. A great locker room full of guys. People underestimate how far a good locker room can be, and I think we brought in a lot of good people to be around. And just moving forward from that, it's just about moving forward and winning. Next year we're trying to win. That's the only thing I really care about is winning, making it to the playoffs. It was hard watching the playoffs this year and doing all that. So yeah.
What's the feeling like being extension eligible? You will sign probably a significant extension this offseason. What's that feeling like, and does it cloud anything? Is it more excitement? What's that like?
Honestly, I haven't really put too much thought into it. I've really just focused on this. Whatever happens, kind of happens. I mean, obviously, it's a cool feeling to be able to be in that situation. But at the same time, I put so much work into being able to be in this position now that it's one of those things where just like you want to continue to work and you want to continue to be in that, so I hope it happens. I want to be in Dallas. I love Dallas. Love the fan base, love the guys. So for me to think that I can be in Dallas for a longer term would be amazing.
So just to make that clear, that's the preference for Dallas to put forward a reasonable offer, and for you to ideally, assuming everything goes to plan, stay in Dallas, and that's where you want your future to be.
Yeah, 100%. I would love to win in Dallas and go forward in Dallas.
What does the next 12 months look like for you? Obviously, you want to have success at the World Cup. Then going into next season, where is improvement? Where is your evolution? What do you want to turn in? Like, what's the next iteration of Josh Green?
I think just continuing to improve. I think there's a lot of things that I can continue to do. I think being able to understand the team a little bit more. Obviously going into last year, it's people underestimate playing with such great guys. It's being able to watch film and see where I need to be, and some games you shoot a certain amount of shots, other games you don't. And it can be hard for people to understand that, but at the same time, there's areas that I can watch on film and everything like that to improve as a player and be able to help my teammates out more. So I think that's obviously one of my goals. I just want to continue to improve. Whatever position I have on the team and whatnot. I just want to be the best version of me. When I'm the best version of me, I'm happy, I'm enjoying playing basketball. And I think that was the best part of the whole season last year is when you're out on the court and you're just having fun, you really realize how much you love basketball. And then obviously, it gets very competitive and whatnot. So I love the competitive side of basketball. And next year, my goal is to win. And I play hard, and I'm planning on doing that next year. And I want to make it to the playoffs. I want to make it to the finals. I want to do all that. And then, so I'm ready.
Good luck with everything, and I'll see you at the World Cup.
Thank you.